Hello everybody. Brian here from quantlabsnet.com. We're going to talk about something different, revolutionizing from uh, AI generated reports on options and futures. Not sure whoever's seen my videos on like each future and options contract. I'm able to now generate. Well, let me just show you easier. Okay, so in here, what you're looking at in my this directory here, I've got yeah, here, let me just make sure I know where I'm going. No. Okay, here we go. So I'll talk about this for a little bit, but here are all the ah, okay. Let me do it this way. Report. Oh, anyways, I won't worry about that. There's 42 reports now of different future contracts I can watch. I'm able to analyze each one. In this report is to generate a report for that asset, and then it goes through all the futures, options trading. I could go on for hours for that, but now what I'm able to do is generate 42 of them and generate a general summary using AI again. Be able to generate a general report to know what I should invest in, how much money I should put in, and get just a general recommendation from that. So I'm now able to generate from those reports individual reports and then be able to turn those reports into an actual trading system. So right here is an example. So this is a fully digital, or sorry, fully AI co-generated. Now the kids call it vibe coding generated report. This is a HFT style. This is with a JavaScript, which I don't even know a lot or very well on coding up. This is simulating a chain on an options chain for gold trading only between a contract of a future and options. So here at the top, we have the current price. Again, this is all random. This is all virtual. So don't take it seriously. It will display the current volatility. It will also have the current P&L. This was launched a few hours ago. So in here in the charts, we have the current price chart. The strategy it's using is a simple um, moving average cross, as you can see here. It will also measure out
You're
the.
not showing your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for letting me know that. That's important, ain't it? Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem, man.
That would have been a waste of time.
I was like, hold on, am I missing
Yeah,
something?
hang on. Hang on here. There's just so much stuff going on. Okay. Zoom here. Okay, where's my main? Wow. Where's my main Zoom here? Zoom can be very confusing. Okay. So I am recording something. Hold on here. Just give me a second here. Uh,
Yeah, take your time.
I don't know what's going on here. We're engaged here. I can't see my share screen. Uh, okay. You know, I don't like Zoom anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. Uh, okay. There we go. I finally figured it out. Yay. Okay, let's get the screen going. Uh, there's just too many options. This is the problem with it. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Here it comes. You should be able to see it. You can see it? You see my screen?
Yes, I can see it now.
Awesome. Great.
Are
Okay.
you using is this you're using Windows then, right?
Yeah,
With a
I'm
Linux.
using Linux with a WSL, Windows Subsystem Linux.
Oh,
So let
so
me,
this is Windows? This is a Windows computer?
yeah, I'm on a Windows laptop using a WSL.
Okay, got it.
It's Ubuntu.
Hmm.
So what you're looking at, again, this is all AI generated. Okay. We have here a dashboard. This is all generated by AI. So it's got your current price on gold, random. the volatility, the P&L, since I launched it, as I said a few hours ago. Now this is focusing on options. So this is the current price. It's using a simple moving average cross as the strategy. It's also here's got the P&L chart cumulatively. This is the Greek analysis of all the standard delta, gamma, theta, and vega. Okay, so that's all measured through a chart. This is the really important part here. This is the recent charts. Sorry, trades. So this is working off of this part right here, which is the standard option chain. That's very expensive. So there'd be your call, your put, and it's using all that data to measure the trade went across in the moving average plus the option chain itself. And then obviously you got the buy and sell here in the trading. Okay. So again, this is all simulated. It's important to remember it's not real. If this was real, I wouldn't be doing this webinar. So that's what we're moving towards. So as I said earlier, you can still see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see everything.
Okay. So going from there, what I'm able to do is, let me just pull up the right terminal here. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So in here, as I said, I've got 42 Word documents, okay, in there. So that's 42 different future contracts and the measurement of, actually it's 38, but it's enough to work off of to be able to generate reports. And I've shown that over the last couple of weeks late. And as I said, I don't want to get into that. But on top of that, you just feed it a prompt into the AI, generates the reports. So this is when you feed in all of those reports into one prompt, and I tell it saying, hey, analyze each of those reports and then give me an overall feedback. This is the one I generated today. So we'll go through each and every single instrument, looks at the potential for arbitrage, for hedging, for the futures as well. And I'll measure out each and every single contract, measuring things you can see here. It's using ARIMA for prediction. It's measuring volatility, calculate a option, implied volatility, option chain plus implied volatility. It'll measure the hedging overall between the options and the underlying, which is your futures. Does the hedging there as well. It will do a measurement of the pro and con. So it does just basically like a trader. And then it'll do a measurement on potential relationship, correlation. Is it worthwhile to arbitrage it? Is it worthwhile to do hedging in it? And I'll do each and every single of those 39 reports. And then when you go towards the end, you could say something like, well, if I only have $10,000 or $100,000, please tell me what I should do with it. Now, obviously, it's going to come back and say this is very highly speculative. We know that, but it's just a general guide to give you an idea of where to trade. Okay, so this one's for $10,000. Okay, so if you own an account at $10,000, it's going to be very limited what you can trade. Okay, so it's going to obviously you're going to work with a bunch of assumptions here, and then it's going to say, okay, in this report, I'm able to put in all the styles of trading options, be it if it's a bearish, neutral, if it's bullish. So it's going to give you a measurement on all the different measurements on what's bearish, what's bullish, what's neutral. And then I'll say, okay, if there's $10,000 in the account, please tell me how much I should allocate to this contract and why. So it will do that. So it'll say, okay, you got a bearish equity index rationale. Here's the REMA. This is the NASDAQ now. It's basically saying buy puts, blah, 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 blah. Here's saying buy ZN for the bearish bonds and some other bullish instruments as well. Factors in all of the past historical volatility and as measuring the overall applied volatility, which is your future volatility based upon the futures performance as well. You can see here includes cash allocation as well, and all these different considerations as well. And on top of that, it'll tell you what kind of option strategy you should put out there, if you should only trade a futures contract for each and every one. And then if you have a portfolio with all these different options available across 39 instruments, it goes right into detail what you could use. But the thing is, it's very speculative. So it's something obviously you got to take it where you're not too serious with it, but it's a guide. Okay. I could run this each and every day um, for however long I want. Now, I know people want to see the source
So
code for this.
so when you
Go
when
ahead. Yeah,
you
jump in.
when you so this text document, right, this Word document.
Yeah,
So you hand this over to the AI and the
yeah,
AI goes,
yeah,
so you said this is what I want to do, and then so you just okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
yeah. So let me give you an idea. Okay. So
Okay.
in here, as I said, we got
Can we
30.
do something like simple like a supply and demand
Yeah, you could do
curve?
that. You could do some, but it's not enough.
Right.
The more you give it, the more accurate. I shouldn't say accurate it'll be, but the more output it'll give you. So, as an example, okay, let's say you want to trade. Usually, ES is a popular one, which is obviously S&P 500. So this is what's in the single report. Okay, so this is a Word document. Now, this is also generated by what I've been working on for the last couple of months. So let's see here if this will open up. Okay. Um, so in here, let me see here if it, yeah, so it's loading up Word. So in here, this is what's in each and every report. So in here, I'm going to give it the volatility. So it'll give you annual volatility. It will give you the last 5 working days volatility. It'll simulate a option chain, which is the crust of it all. Um, and it'll measure on the extreme side with a put and call plus on the downside and the upside of the simulated stock price or sorry, strike price. I could go on about this, okay? So it'll do a prediction using, as I said, ARIMA on the forecast on the options price. Then I'll run all these calculations on hedging and using hedging math, which is classic quant stuff. Then it calculates the implied volatility, has all the Greek analysis, measures a call put analysis, which is the equilibrium that keeps the instrument in line in balance with the market based on supply and demand. There's a risk frontier as well. It analyzes, does all kinds of payoff diagrams as well. So from that, I'm able to run off all the different types of option strategies. We got iron condors in here. We've got all kinds of different strategies. We got the bearish, we got the neutral. Um, as I said, neutral. We've got all the more complicated ones, the iron condor. It's just showing you the information, right? So it does all these payoff diagrams, right? And also measure out the minimal floor price to for your downside risk. And it just goes on and on and on. You can see it's about 40 pages, every single one. Okay. It does all kinds of analysis on the hedging, arbitrage, forecasting. Is there an opportunity? It will measure an options boundary. So you're within a range of when and what to trade on the upside and the downside. It will also measure the gold, what they call the gold area to trade within, and the range on the options as well. And it goes on and 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 on, and it just goes on and on. Okay, so basically, it just goes further with all the correlation, hedging analysis, forecasting, anything that's forward looking. Okay, so from there, what happens is you got, as I said, you got 39, actually 42 instruments I could feed it, and then feed back all of these reports into one prompt, and it'll come back with that analysis of what I showed earlier as well, right? And then from there, I'm able to generate a actual report, or sorry, an actual trading system from it using C++ as the back end, and then using uh, JavaScript on the front end. So that's where this thing comes in. Okay. And again, that's all 100% generated by AI as well. Okay.
Even the C++ code?
C++, JavaScript's 100% generated by AI. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And it's even deployed it? You created a
Well,
server. It tells you.
okay, hold on. This is where we got to get real. Okay. Everything's also based upon simulated code or simulated results on these options and futures reports, what I call reports, right? So then I
Mhm.
come back with uh, a master reports is all the what I showed earlier, and then my next step, but I'm not getting there is because I'm asking it, please provide me a general strategy, or I should say, multiple assets instruments out there with a unique strategy for each of those instruments based upon each report and how much should I allocate to the portfolio. So my point is, all that what I'm talking about is 100% generated by AI, right? It's powerful. I mean, but it does it work? We won't know until we put live money on it. But even for a learning purpose, it's worthwhile pursuit because you're able to to learn this much faster than the old hand coding way, like the horse and buggy way, right? Because
Right.
we're now involving AI, right?
Hold on. So all you have to do is hook this up to uh like hook it up to a data source then, right?
Well, you can, yeah. Where well, you don't need the data source, right? Um, because well, you do need a data source, but what you're going to do is you're going to need to generate unique reports from the data, raw data, I should say. Okay, you with me on that when I say that? Because you're
Can you
using raw data and you're looking at without one single report I showed to generate data like that, which is pretty well all forward looking, and then combine that with 30, 42 other instruments, then feed that all into one prompt in AI, and then come back with a potential trading solution. If that makes sense, let me know.
sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Okay,
I
so I have
apologize.
now 39, 42 reports right here.
Correct?
One for cotton, one for silver, one for gas, platinum, palladium, all that, plus the ES, oil, all that, right? So those are
Correct.
future and option projections based upon hedging and arbitrage for institutional level trading and planning. So I feed all that into one massive prompt and I say, give me back a general trading strategy I can work with, also with the allocation and the weightings of what should go where. And then you're able to generate a prompt or a dashboard like what you're seeing here and being able to generate all the code. So now you're using the data source, but on top of that, you can through AI then generate the live trading piece uh, for this call it system, depending upon your broker. So as long as the broker is popular, using all the documents that a lot of the AI should get access to, you would be able to generate the actual uh, coding to work with the live trading as well.
Okay.
Like if I want interactive brokers, it said blah blah blah, generate this thing, but also use uh, interactive brokers for futures data and use interactive brokers API um, for the API or support with Trader Workstation and generate all the connecting code for all the automated trading. And that's part of the prompt. Or you can add that as a second iteration into what's generated, and it'll generate all that working code for you.
Mhm.
So it's going to cut out a lot of time needed to hand code this, we'll say, and it's all customized to your broker.
Oh, that would take about if I mean if you're working on every I mean that's like a 2, 3 months.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you're new to it.
Right.
But you can get the AI to do it not for you. but to at least lay down the groundwork. And
Correct.
you could also do this as well on the data side as well. But here we're dealing. Here's the trick. You could do this easily 100% with equity options, no problem. Okay, or if you want to connect and buy and invest in stocks, ETFs, you could do that too, or forex or crypto, no problem. But the thing is, I'm doing the most complicated of them all. I'm using only options on futures. Okay, so as
Mm,
I said, I'm working with the option chain data, and that's a secret sauce to everything. But the problem is with the Chicago Merchant Exchange, the CME, I can't get access to their options chain for futures and options. Why? Because they guard that
mm,
and they gatekeep that. So it's very expensive to get access to that data for to real data for options chain. And if I want it, I have to spend anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 per month, right? So if I was able to get that, use real data here, using AI to generate this kind of dashboard, um, I could do a lot of things with it. We'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? Makes sense?
yes.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. So there's two pieces to this. This is the back end that's running. And here's the problem. It's still did a core dump, so it's not 100%. So this
Mm-hmm.
will stay running for maybe a couple hours because I'm pounding it through the JavaScript. So it'll eventually crash. So I have to debug that or try to get the AI to debug that on the C++ side. But how do you tell an AI to go, please debug this core dump, right?
Mm-hmm.
With C++, I don't know if you've tried that. It's like, with runtime errors or exceptions running with C++, not a very descriptive answer. So you can't rely 100% on AI for these sort of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can see here that the Java side's still running, right?
Right.
Because the front end's still running. I wouldn't even know it crashed. But I can make it more intelligent on the front end. But really, the real problem is on the back end because it could still crash for mysterious reasons. And this is right here, all the messaging I've gotten from the back end. So, can you use AI 100%? No, but you could definitely lay down the groundwork to build out a really decent little trading system
Didn't
like with JavaScript and C++. Go ahead, man.
they didn't like try catches or throw errors? There's no
Well,
error handler.
you could do that, sure, but part of the prompting here is I'm not using a lot. Like this is on now on the C++ side because you want to keep the code minimal. So I told it, don't use any third parties libraries in the C++. Only use the standard template library, the STL. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
used. So to find an exception on the C++ side is going to be pretty tough to find,
Which
right?
version of C++? plus plus?
I believe it's 17.
17? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be an accomplished programmer to get away with this. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just vibe code your way to like the kids do, right? It's not going to work. But one way to get around that is just generate everything in Python, not C++, because C++ is hard to debug, hard to do diagnose. But if you did this in Python, it'd be a lot easier. And same with the JavaScript as well. I'd replace that again on the front end with Python as well. This is just easier to work with, and reduce your expectation going from. Remember, I'm using in the prompt saying, "Oh, I want a high frequency trading system," right? And I'm raising the expectation on the result of the code. But if I say, don't generate a HFT system for me, give me a medium frequency trading system. It'll be a lot easier on the AI to generate um, easier code to work with, right? And diagnosing would be a lot easier as well than using C++ and JavaScript. But you're an established JavaScript developer. How do you find debugging JavaScript in itself?
Um, uh, It's not too bad because usually you know what page you're on. It's pretty easy to find it, and when I do write code, I always have error handling.
Right.
So I always write like I said, we have try catches
Yeah.
so that
I haven't tested that yet, but here's the problem. When you're doing that in a so-called high frequency trading system, and you're going to have that extra layer for every
right.
decision, for every loop, and you got to check it to make sure it didn't bomb. You know how much that's going to slow down the coding,
Oh yeah,
right? You can do
correct.
it, but it's not no longer going to be your high frequency trading system anymore. It's going to be high frequency trading plus debugging every single decision in the code. You know what
Right,
I mean?
right. Are you using
So
TypeScript too?
no, this is all HTML and JavaScript.
Okay,
It's plain vanilla JavaScript, I might add too,
okay.
I believe. But as I said, if you work with, if you're like in my case, I've been more free working with Python. I think that's the better solution to do is everything as much in Python as possible because you're going to be less prone to errors, and if there are, they're easier to find than in C++ and JavaScript as well. But I just want to demonstrate this that the capabilities is there to get away with this, but unless you're a fully accomplished developer, it's going to be tough to develop this kind of system because if it bombs, like what I just showed you on that core dump, um, it's tough, man. You know what I mean? How do you
That
tell
does.
the AI to fix a core dump with all the code that it generated? It won't know what to do. I can guarantee you that, no matter how advanced it is.
Where it doesn't even tell you anything, just a
Yeah, yeah,
segmentation
exactly.
fault
Yeah,
or no.
yeah, exactly.
Where?
Where? Yeah, why? Right? Under what condition? First, you got to
Right.
find where, and then you got to go why. All right, and you'll be doing this for years, and this code that's generated is specifically for those reports. So by the time you get to a running state, generally the code is could be outdated pretty quickly. So all I'm saying, the potential is there with AI, but you have to be very aware and know your stuff from the debugging and specifically on the maintenance as well. So that is that. I don't know. Is there any other questions you wanted to ask, Mr.
No,
AI? We'll call you AI.
no.
No, sure.
No. It's fine. I did see this video. I've seen this dashboard before on
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of
I put
your
that out late last week, but I was hoping to have another one updated for Python. I'm not sure. I think when it comes to AI and code generating or vibe coding, you have to keep the expectation low for what you're generating, and you have to keep the requirements of the AI very small. Like if you're trying to build out a full-on trading system, like multiple, I don't know, a couple thousand lines in total, I think it's going to be a failure at this point to expect to have a debug or a code that has no bugs in it. That's going to be impossible. But who knows? In 6 months, a year from now, we don't know where things will go on coding and maintenance of these things. But there's so you know how it is. There's so much false
well,
marketing out there with what's promised on this vibe coding thing. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah, well, usually what I would do is because it's not production, well, obviously it's not production
No,
ready, is and there's that segmentation fault.
yeah,
I That's when I would do all the error handling and then find out where the problem is
yeah, you could do that. Yeah,
and then remove it.
you could do that too.
So I mean,
But but
it's
but
just or run it through a debugger and put breakpoints to it, and making sure that you're getting all the
yeah, you
information
could do
because
that too.
you have to track it down. That's
Yeah,
the
but
problem.
don't forget.
You don't know where. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. Finish off.
No, I mean that's kind of what I was getting at. The problem is what does the core dump look like? I mean, do you have any?
Well,
That's all you saw there.
I've worked enough with C++. Is why I don't work with C++ because It's very good at for being very descriptive on their runtime errors, right? You just saw it. That's why I don't work with C++. But
Uh,
with Python, it's a lot easier because you could do exactly what you're saying by putting in little print statements along the way, or a try catch, or try except. You could do
mhm.
all that. And it's interpretive as well, which is a lot easier to work with. But that's the other reason why I don't work with JavaScript, because that can be a nightmare to work with as well, especially if you're going in and taking over somebody's project. So that's why I like working with Python. But I think doing this process with Python will be a lot easier, um, from my perspective. But to do that in C++ is kind of interesting. It is doable if you're willing to put to put in the time on the debugging and maintenance side. Or if you go in and just want to lay down the groundwork for a little decent system, you can ask it to build like a special set of modules, or in the code for just specifically designing um, a, uh, a strategy section within the code, and have some flexibility for that and have its own little API. I've seen that done with a lot of coding system or a lot of trading systems, where you have your basic infrastructure set up, and then part of that will be where the system has its own API, and then you can just generate code built around the whole thing with the infrastructure. Plus, when you develop your custom strategy, you're going to work with the API that's been implemented into the trading system. So there's another option as well, if that makes sense. You have any other questions at all or comments?
No, it looks beautiful. I mean, for something that you just typed into AI and whipped it
Yeah,
up, I mean,
yeah, I know.
it's damn impressive.
Yeah, I know. And it has everything. You just got to know what to put in the prompt, you know? So, I mean, it's absolutely incredible at the potential where it's going, where it's at. I'll say this about all the LLMs out there with the competition. As I was explaining with the DeepSeek, where it was light years ahead of all the US ones, that puts the pressure on like the Anthropics and the Google to bring out their own LLMs and bring them up to date to compete against something like a DeepSeek, right? And then it becomes a cat and mouse game. And the thing is that it just forces each of these major LLMs to improve, which is good, because I would say it's cutthroat out there for all these competing LLMs, specifically if it's generating code for you. So yeah, it's exciting times, but uh, we'll see where it goes. But you can't go wrong with the way it's going. It helps. You know,
Going out of a job.
well, I'm just on the verge of putting out a video now about people are wanting to get into these companies that, the hedge funds that pay half a million, a million. They don't know, generally the audience don't know that these firms will only hire top-notch graduates from top-notch schools like MIT and the Stanfords and all that. And even the top-notch grads don't even get jobs. They're coming out with PhDs. They're having right now problems getting the job. So I'm gonna have a video on that. And what my point is, it's hard to get into this field and get into this lucrative field. Okay. But if you're wanting to develop your own trading system, that's doable because now you have the AI to help you. That's doable. And as I keep saying to people, the only judge in the market is the markets themselves. You'll be profitable or not. You can be profitable for a long run, and when the market regime changes, now you have to do it all over again and build a new set of trading strategies and systems to stay profitable over the long run. And that's where people are at now, where they're losing money because of good old President Trump, right? Because he's got his uh, reckless ways of presenting things out there that knock the markets out of whack. And you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I wonder if he has if he is buying stuff or
Well,
selling before he puts out the tweet or whatever.
ask the Suns, because the Suns got their own crypto trading thing. And now all of a sudden they're going to have a Bitcoin reserve and whatever crypto reserve. I'm just gonna say, you know what I'm trying to say, right? I mean, it's not honest. We'll say that.
They're politicians, my friend.
Well, there's politicians, and then there's those who are on the inside before something happens in the market that impacts the markets, and I'm specifically talking about on the crypto side of it within the U.S. for sure. You know, just look. I think the company's
Hmm.
called Liberty Media or something, and they're just starting up a Bitcoin mining firm or taking over one. It's pretty surprising. That's all I could say. It's surprising considering what's was said during the campaign and where it's at now. That's what I'm referring as surprising. But on the other end, I'm not surprised at all. You know, is there anything else you want to ask or anything?
No, 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 that's fine.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. I just stopped the recording. Okay.